Okay, so let's get this going. Let's start over from the beginning. Hello, everybody. It's 6:11 p.m. Central Time on the 30th of January, 2026. Hope you are doing well. I already have a display capture turned on here, and we're going to talk about a few of the earthquakes which struck. We got a 2.4 earthquake over here on the East Coast, and it's at a place that you guys may remember if you're a longtime viewer of mine. This is where the largest earthquake in the past 10 years for the whole East Coast struck. And it's a 2.4 now. It's called White House Station, New Jersey. And this matters. This really matters. So I want you to take a look at the screen as we go to look it up, because location means everything in relation to earthquakes, whether it's on a fault or whether we're next to a power plant or a volcano or a nuclear test site or any of that nature. We want to know what's at the epicenter for the earthquake. Now, you see where it says quake 2 here. This is where the 5.0 range earthquake struck. They downgraded it to 4.8, and it struck about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. Now, we are right next to the Trump National Golf Course. This is the Bedminster, New Jersey, former DeLorean car company owner estate that now belongs to the president. And so to get the biggest earthquake in the last 10 years below this location is significant in its own right. So now that we're back here with a new earthquake next to the location, it kind of opens up the whole talk about the original earthquake. Because when the original 5.0 range earthquake, the biggest in 10 years for the whole East Coast, struck, guess who didn't cover it? Anybody. This is when Joe Biden was still president, and this is right up in the lead up to the election. So nobody mentioned that it was next to Trump's golf course at all. I was the only person to even acknowledge that it was there. And when I did, my videos got delisted. Now, this is weird because it's under Biden was still president. So, really weird. Then this location appeared in the news a couple of weeks later with mystery drones that were flying over this area. Mystery drones. But first, the earthquake struck, and everybody leaving out that it's below Trump's golf course. I made everyone aware of this in my videos. I made posts on it. No alternative channels talked about it. No geophysics channels talked about it. Nobody on X talked about it. Nobody on Facebook. Literally, I was the only person on the whole planet to talk about the earthquake below Trump's golf course, the biggest in 10 years for the whole East Coast. Oh, I just lit up my cat outside the door. My cat's now outside the door meowing to get in. Sounds like she's in heat. Jeez. Okay, so that being said, guys, our earthquake striking below the location is worth mentioning, and we, again, have to drive home the point that when it gets ignored, I start to wonder why. Why did everybody ignore the earthquake down below Trump's golf course? It's the biggest in 10 years. Should be news. Geophysics people certainly should have talked about it. And where are all the weird truther channels? And although even they didn't talk about it, but they were all made aware of it because I put it in videos and put it out on posts that got tens of thousands of views from my own viewers. So we're finally back to Trump's golf course again, and we are now just northwest of it by, let's get a measurement on here to see how far we are from it. We're down below it, of course, by several kilometers, but we're 2 kilometers west, and the depth on the earthquake is 8.9 kilometers down. So think of it, it's like down at an angle, about 10 kilometers down. But that's just something we have to make note of because of the earthquakes that are striking at the other locations that are of interest. For instance, there was an earthquake out over here on the West Coast, and it was over in the Bay Area just this week. Went and looked it up, and it took us right in where? It took us in next to the submarine base, the General Dynamics Submarine Manufacturing Facility. And that was this week as well. Again, zooming right in here. Earthquake in the Bay Area. You guys, again, if you know about that, not going to waste your time looking up a small earthquake below the sub base, but just to let you know, we're getting earthquakes below these military locations, and that is interesting in light of the other locations, power plants, volcanoes, and fault zones getting hit. What do they all have in common is the next question, and that gets into very low frequency, ultra low frequency, extremely low frequency, VLF, ELF, ULF. Whether it's communication, directed energy weapon, or Mother Nature produced, it's happening below these locations. Now, look where we are here. We're right next to Fort Jackson. This is the Army training training base. Is that called Fort Jackson? Hold on, yeah, Fort Jackson. And here's all the firing ranges. They got the Abrams tanks out here. But now, remember, this is kilometers down below in the plate. So down below this location, another military base getting hit. We have a 4.1 rare earthquake that struck in southeast Quebec. Or I'm sorry, southeast Ontario, right next to the Quebec border, or at the New York, Vermont, New Hampshire border region, if you want to think of it like that, in the far northeast U.S. But this is in Canada, so let's just go see what the location is. And I already looked it up earlier. This is the 4.0 earthquake that struck. It's somewhat rare. We issued a forecast for this. But all these locations have something in common. There's a power source or something very significant there nearby that's worth mentioning. It's not like it's just a fault zone. And we're not let down. Okay, where are we? We got a series of large quarries that are here, but the earthquake is down below in the plate. Now, the Canadian military has some locations here. People were telling me about. This is in comments, but I don't have any video evidence of that. Like, I looked around and they didn't have them marked. They have the U.S. stuff marked, but I don't have anything on Google for Canadian military. That's just firsthand report. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you can, of course, tell me where it is in here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with the number of quarries that are in here. It would just maybe raise your eyebrows and make you think that there's something there nearby, underground, for instance. But this one, again, we forecast for this. We were looking for this to happen, a 4.0 in the Northeast, right here, and I issued the warning for right here. So I said Vermont, New Hampshire, southeast Quebec, and it struck southeast Ontario. So that's enough right there to get you raise your eyebrows a little with the military installations getting hit, Trump's golf course getting hit, over on the west coast, the submarine base getting hit. And if we go over here to Oklahoma, for instance, or down into Texas, every single location across Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, and New Mexico, all of these are all below drill points for oil and gas. There's a lone earthquake on the New Madrid seismic zone. Let's go look this one up. Dyersburg, Tennessee. And let's see what's at this location. Of course, the New Madrid seismic zone is at the location, but is there anything else here nearby? It's all very interesting to me, guys. We start seeing earthquakes next to Trump's golf course, and they also have the Army base and the submarine base. Yeah. Even the untrained person would be like, oh, I wonder what's going on with all the military bases getting hit. If you're not familiar with the New Madrid seismic zone, this gets into a whole thing with the fold in the plate in the middle of the plate. This also gets, there's other weird things here nearby, for instance. You could talk about, they call this area Little Egypt, which you have Memphis down to the south. You have Cairo, Illinois up here to the north. You've got the New Madrid seismic zone right smack in the middle of it. Okay, so this is a lone earthquake. I don't see anything of significance nearby. No military, no power generation, no quarries. It would be what I would call an actual natural earthquake as the wave is going across the plate. It's not precipitated below any weird location, whereas the earthquakes on the East Coast and over to the west, for instance, are being precipitated down below where we have perforation points, where they've drilled, or where they have very low frequency, ultra low frequency being broadcast. And that's like a electromagnetic punch point in the plate with radio waves. So let's go look at actual punch points. Let's just grab an earthquake from over here in the middle of Oklahoma. Dibble, Oklahoma is the location. Dibble. What a name. Let's go over to Dibble, Oklahoma, and go see what's there. And I'll already forecast that we're going to be finding a bunch of oil pumping operations here nearby. Earthquake epicenter here, and right next to the earthquake epicenter, we have drill points for fracking. So tanks, pumps, jacks, and pipelines, which connect from point to point to point. A lot of drill points here, guys. Every one of those little rectangles on the ground, they look like light gray color. Tanks, pumps, jacks on them. Those are drill points. And it goes on for a while. You see all the way around it, all of these. I'm just randomly zooming in on some so you see examples. So that's where our 2.4 is. Up to the north where the 2.3 is, and down to the south where the 2.0 is, those are also drill points. Just like what I just showed you. So let's just prove that really quick and move down to Texas. This is just for the new viewers. Again, we have to do this for new viewers since I'm recording. I want to prove to you that these are drill points. I don't want to just tell you. And why does it matter? Well, when I first started in 2011, professionals and everyone said there was no relation between oil and gas drill points and earthquakes. Their excuse was, well, we would see them in Saudi Arabia if there were. Then 5.0 range quakes started striking at all the fracking operations, swarms in Arkansas, and they had to come back and admit that, well, they didn't fully admit it yet even. They tried to say that it's just wastewater disposal wells causing the earthquakes. Fracking. And it turns out it's oil pumping operations that also get hit. So it's not just wastewater disposal wells. But you get the idea again. It's a large pumping operation where every one of these different pads are. So let's move on. I shouldn't need to show you the third set down in South Oklahoma. I mean, again, let's just go look up the swarm down here in Texas. Go see where this huge stack of earthquakes is taking place. Pearsall, Texas, Pearsall, Texas, and see what's there. Now, I have not looked up the swarm, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm guessing that there's going to be a ton of drill points here. Guessing now. Well, there's one right here, right next to the swarm. This imagery date is 2023. And when I say a lot, I mean it. So look at all of them. Every one of these is a different drill point. And so we have, again, tanks, pumps, jacks, and pipelines that connect between them. And it looks like a jumbled mess, because it is. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. And over to the east and down to the south. Now, this is Texas, so we're kind of already known for having oil and gas. But most people don't realize how many points there are that they've drilled into the plate. And so when the wave is going across the plate, and it runs into drill points at a pumping operation, for instance, or if it's going across the edge of the Craton up into Oklahoma, it hits more drill points. Then it goes over to the New Madrid and hits a bend in the plate, drops off a single earthquake there, then goes down to the East Coast over in South Carolina, over to the Army base, where they got a VLF or ULF transmitter of some kind obviously going, or the enemy's looking down into the ground there, one of the two, or both, and then up to the northeast, below Trump's golf course. Then further up to the northeast, on the edge of the Craton, right next to where there's a fold in the plate again. So whether it's a fold in the plate, a drill point, a military base with large power there, or a natural fault zone, they're all moving as this wave is going across the edge of the North American Craton. So what kind of wave is going across the plate? Well, this gets into very low frequency waves from Mother Nature that are being generated far away. You curious about a 4.0 at the New Mexico-Colorado border? Let's go take a look. Cimarron, New Mexico. All right, we're just south of the Colorado border. Cimarron. Paste and search. One more time, let me show you the Craton diagram as we're looking this up. Look at Colorado, look at New Mexico. See where the Craton edge goes? The purple versus rusty brownish color. So it goes right down through here. Now you also see I have some things marked, like frack well. Now, that's just one frack well marked, but we can go down here. We'll follow the roads, and the roads have more. So tanks, pumps, jacks, and pipelines here at the New Mexico-Colorado border, and it goes up into Colorado. Same thing, like what we were just looking at in Texas or in Oklahoma. Mother Nature, the wave, comes up to wherever there are drill points, a weak point in the plate. And we can create electromagnetic weak points with very low frequency and ultra low frequency, or we can actually do drill points. Then Mother Nature has faults and volcanoes, somewhat doing the same thing, catching that wave as it goes across the plate. So a 4.0 earthquake struck there today. Let's go down and look up the 3.3 down at La Cueva, New Mexico. Sueva? Is that La Sueva or Cueva? Yeah, whatever. I'm good old Dutch from St. Louis. Good luck getting me to say anything properly. We're next to a giant caldera. Take a look at this. So we jump from drill points, man-made points, to a huge caldera. And this is the Valles Caldera. You see that? The National Preserve. And inside of Valles Caldera are several smaller volcanoes that make a trail down to here. You see them. And then inside of there are also lava flows that have happened in here. And then this whole thing blew out a long time ago at some point. Now, this also can get into alternative civilization stuff. And if I turn off the place marks, maybe you'll see what I'm talking about. That there is some weird stuff in the plate. When I say alternative civilization stuff, I mean ancient history that needs to be rewritten or that's been deliberately hidden. But that gets into some weird stuff, and we're not going to do that now. You go see my last video if you want to get into the weird stuff. But back down here, the earthquake is striking right on the edge of the Valles caldera. There's the Smithsonian Institution place mark for it if you want to read it. You can pause it and read it if you really are curious. I'll just tell you it's huge, 22 kilometers wide, and hasn't erupted in a very, very, very long time. But it could erupt again. Keep an eye on the seismic activity next to volcanoes, always. You start seeing a bunch of 3s and 4s around any big volcano, pay attention. As we go up to the northwest, we get into Wyoming and Idaho. Now, up in northwest Wyoming, this is the well-known Yellowstone caldera, a few small earthquakes. So that's not that big of a deal. There's normally hundreds, if not thousands, of small tremors per day in Yellowstone, but they're different than earthquakes. They get assigned a magnitude, but they don't show up on the feed usually. These are actual earthquakes showing up, so a little bit of braking going on there. Yellowstone breathes like a giant. It goes up and down and moves to the southeast overall. GPS measurements showed moves to the southeast, currently at least. So small earthquakes there don't really concern me as much as if we go down here, we go down to the border of Idaho and Wyoming here. Let's go take a look and see what's there. Fairview, Wyoming. I don't know what's at this location. I know Sulphur Peak and China Cap Butte Volcano are next to the border, but I don't know how far we're going to have to go to get there. Oh, wait, hold on. Now, wait a second. Hold on. How deep is this? 9.5 kilometer depth, directly below a large quarry. So this gets into surface perforation again. So we're on the edge of the plate. We have perforation that humans do at the surface. In this case, it's mining at the surface, going down a few hundred to a few thousand feet. And these are tailing piles, so they're bringing this up and dumping it, meaning there is a large mine here going down into the ground as well. Some mines, just like drill points, are perforations in the surface of a piece of stone or large slabs of stone or plates of stone. And just like if you were to perforate a large boulder on the surface of it and apply pressure from the side, you can get cracking or breaking that goes all the way through multiple layers of rock. This can even be done on a large scale when you perforate the surface of a rock or hard substance and apply pressure from the side or below. It's just the little break point that allows for the pressure, whatever you apply, to come up through it and break it more. So a huge mining operation, but this is 10 kilometers down. Remember, we're also next to a place called Sulphur Peak right here. Wait, hold on. Where are our places and place marks? Don't we have this all turned on? Photos, roads, weather, gallery. Yeah, we've got it all turned on. Where are our mountains? Well, that's really bizarre. You have to zoom in really close to get it. Look, you zoom out this far, it doesn't give it to you. You zoom in this far, it gives it to you. Sulphur Peak is right there. So we are next to Sulphur Peak, and then over here is China Cap Butte Volcano, Cinder Island, and the Blackfoot Lava Field. And these are old volcanoes. They're even mining in on the side of these volcanoes to get out red and black igneous rock, the lava rock that you would put into your garden, for instance. Now, there's no shortage of that. Look at how much there's just at that one location. So that's what's there. It matters, right? We're next to a volcano and a spot. This is down below, so it's a perforation in the surface. And then Mother Nature has volcanic chambers that come up from deep down below that go up to the surface. A double whammy, and the wave strikes there. Let's go up into Wyoming now, or I'm sorry, Montana. Out of Wyoming, there was a 4.5 to 4.8 earthquake that shook Montana, got everyone's attention. Geophone Potsdam has it at a 4.5, and USGS has it at a 4.2. They call it Black Eagle, Montana. One more time, let's turn on the Craton diagram and look at Montana in the northwest. Look up there. Look at Idaho. Look at the northwest. The purple versus rusty brownish part again. And the earthquake is directly on it, isn't it? Let's take a look one more time. Right there. So let's go look it up. And we'll get into the 4 that struck up in Alberta as well, because these are tied together on the edge of the Craton. This Craton right here goes up into Canada, right through Alberta and BC. And up in Alberta, you've got a large pumping operation for oil and gas, just like what we showed you down in Texas. The Canadians are doing just the same up there. They don't even really talk about it, do they? Pretend like they don't have much oil and gas. Canada's cranking it out in Alberta and BC. That's why they don't want to lose Alberta, right? Hey, look, we're at another mine. We're at another mine. And a shooting complex, too. Isn't that wonderful? We got a microwave tower there. Look at that. Got a microwave tower on top of the butte. We got a mine next to this. What else do we have here? Oh, we're at Maelstrom Air Force Base. Nothing go wrong there. Nothing go wrong out at Maelstrom. I don't even know what kind of fighters or bombers or whatever they're going to have out there, but Maelstrom Air Force Base, eh? Bunkers, fighter aircraft, probably. Wonderful. Well, another military installation, earthquake right next to it. It's not a bombing range, guys. They're not bombing out here. These are farm fields that are out here. And what's this? Oh, another shooting range. Is this military? My God, look at that, guys. Got an earthquake down below a large shooting range. You wonder if it's the military or not. It doesn't have a place mark on it for. There's Great Falls Sports Shooting Complex over here. Wow. Well, maybe they're blowing stuff up. Maybe it was tannerite explosion. I got it. I know it. That's got to be what it is. You know how much tannerite it would take to make a blast like this? You know how much tannerite it would take to make a Kim Jong-un's nukes produced 4.5 earthquakes. So it would be nuclear level that they would be blowing up out here. And by the way, the depth on the earthquake is, 22 kilometers deep. So we know it's not at the surface. This is down below the location for other reasons. This gets into the edge of the Craton and the earthquake that struck up in Canada. So I'm just, again, you got the military base right here. So I would say very low frequency military base precipitating the earthquake down below it on the edge of the Craton. And then up to the north, we got another 4 that struck up in Alberta. Somewhat more rare, doesn't happen all the time. Oh, wait, where is it? Here's the whole week's worth. Hold on. Here's the whole week's worth of earthquakes from the USGS. It was a 4.6 earthquake that struck up here. Where is the 4.6? It certainly has not been over a week. Hold on. Let's go over to the USGS site. Hold up. Seven days, 2.5 plus. Bye, birdie. It's gone. It's gone. Okay, hold on. 30 days. It's going to have on 30 day? Well, here it is right here. 4.0 earthquake. They have it on the 30-day feed, even though it was 7 days ago. I've got the 7-day feed turned on. I see? See? They have it on the 30-day feed as if it happened in the last 30 days. It happened 7 days ago and doesn't come up on the 7-day feed. They're trying to hide it, in my opinion. There might be some technical explanation for that, but that's bizarre. Let's go look it up and see why they would try to get that one thrown off the feed real quick. Bury it. Well, speaking of being buried, how about all these drill points? Look at this. Canada. Oil. Lots of it. It goes on through all of Alberta. All of these are drill points for oil and gas in the back country. It's not for forestry clear cuts. This is for oil and gas. And you see how many there are, right? Again, this is Alberta. And we go right across the border. It carries on across the border over into BC. And all the way up along the mountains this way in BC. Oil. Again, it's insane. Tens of thousands of drill points all the way up through BC. Down this way, following the edge of the Craton, all the way down through here. It's the whole province. See what I just showed you? Starting right here and going all the way up, all the way to here is all drill. So our 4.0 earthquake that struck there was a 4.6 originally reported, and that matters because that's what struck down south. A 4.5, USGS now has it at 4.2, but we all know it came in originally at 4.6 to 4.7 in Montana, and that's what it came in up to the north in Alberta at the start of the week. So let's recap. Alberta struck at the pumping operations. We go down here to the military base. Then we go down to pumping operations. Then we go down to a military base. Then we go to a pumping operations. Then we go to a natural earthquake on the New Madrid seismic zone. Then we go to the military base. Then we go to Trump's. And then we go back to a natural earthquake that's about the same size as what went into the system to begin with. And so we have a wave going across the plate, and it's finding a path of least resistance. And it doesn't care whether it's a man-made punch point, whether it's a man-made electromagnetic point, or a Mother Nature-made punch point, or a Mother Nature-made electromagnetic point. There aren't too many Mother Nature electromagnetic points. So it's really just volcanoes, faults for Mother Nature, and then the rest you see. I've just showed you. Now, we could spend the rest of the day looking up the earthquakes. There's that many over on the West Coast over the past few days. All zeros, ones, and twos. But I can already tell you, let's go pull the largest of the bunch over here, this 3.4, and go see what's there out in California. San Ramon, California. You ready to go look all the way on the West Coast now? We're jumping out west. 3.4, biggest of the bunch. Where is it? Let's zoom in and see. Well, I'll be darned. What's this place? This is the Chevron headquarters, and also the Pacific Gas and Electric corporate offices, where they're generating power at the surface with a large amount of solar panels. But I'm more worried about this, the Chevron headquarters, and also the power generation going on there with the power lines and the substation. Now, this gets into the power outage that happened here, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, a month ago? The North Bay area went out of power. It made national news. What didn't make national news was the near 5.0 earthquake that struck over here at San Ramon, down below the power lines and the Chevron headquarters that preceded that power outage. Like before the power outage, the 5 hit. Then after the power outage, another 5 hit. And they were both at this, down below the Chevron headquarters. I know, right? So Trump's golf course, Chevron headquarters. I told you the VLF location at the military base. Let's go. We can go look that up too, maybe here. Let's do that really quick. Let's go pull the other coordinates up here and just show you the sub base and general dynamics since the earthquake struck there. When I looked that up earlier this week, I freaked because it puts me on every list in the world. Like, no exaggeration. Oh, wait, what's this? You must have put in the coordinates for the wrong location here. All right. Well, okay, maybe I'm just not supposed to show it now. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, no, it's right here. Here it is. So we were looking up the location. The subs are parked out there. You got the general dynamics there. It's a big deal to get the earthquake there. Now, it's just a small earthquake. The 3.4 is more a concern than a 0 or a 1 or a small swarm at a location. I just want to prove that to you again. I don't want you to just have to take my word for it that something's there. Okay, let's wrap it up with what are we looking for? We're looking for activity to go up to 6.0 at the California-Nevada border, where all 4 of these earthquakes kind of have a center point right here, and that is where we are watching for 6. We only have a couple more days to go in the watch for the California-Nevada border. But how about that for an update for the U.S.? The Trump golf course, the military bases, the VLF very low frequency in the plate, and that the wave, Mother Nature's wave, is seeking out spots where we are generating very low frequency, whether it's a power station or a military base. It's crazy, but there it is. Speaking of crazy, we issued a warning for 5 different locations to be struck down here in South America. 4 of the 5 have now been hit. Let's check them off the list. 5.2 striking out here west of Galapagos on the north-south facing fracture zone between the Cocos Plate and the Nazca Plate. That's location 1. The other location, it's not on the USGS feed anymore, but you can go look it up. 4.6 to 4.9 earthquake struck here at Colombia. Down to the south, 5.4 and a 5.0 struck on our warned area southeast of Rapa Nui, Easter Island. It's where we were looking on the stair-step fracture zone. That's here, 5.4 and 5.0. And we were looking down here where the arrow points for new activity to strike. A swarm broke out there going in the mid-range 4 level. Then a 6 struck down at our X marks the spot down at South Sandwich Island. 6.0 energy came in and went down here. So let's check them off. 1, 2, 3, and 4 locations hit there. The only thing missing now is the 6, or 5.9, in the middle of it all. And since the 6 struck down here, it's pretty obvious there's 6.0 energy coming in. How about the equidistant spaced mid-range 5s to 5.9, striking on the mid-Atlantic ridge, 6.0 to the south, 5.9 in the middle, and USGS 5.8 and 5.9, and a 5.4 to the north. But the spacing on it, it's like a wave spreading across a huge distance on all sides of the plate. So looking at it this way, it came in, it went across, went around. The only thing missing now is the one earthquake in the middle. And if it doesn't hit, so be it. I'm happy getting 4 out of 5 locations. That's good. On something everybody said was impossible, right? Overseas, let's go take a quick look. Over in the West Pacific, we have deep earthquake activity down below Fiji again, and I kind of shrug and sigh when I say that because that means we're going to see new, shallower, larger earthquakes come up again. This is the cycle. Sometimes it goes weeks or months between cycles, but in this case, we're just going back to back. I saw a video from Stephen Burns pondering about the number of 4s and 5s, and he was wondering what it meant. We are certainly going up there in the number of 4s and 5s. And that's like the whole planet. Like, think of a dog that's wet and it shakes off its whole body, right? Every inch moves a little, right? And so that's kind of what we have going on here. The solar storm or solar storms are tweaking the Earth's magnetosphere, goes down into the core of the Earth. The electric charge from all of that energy being absorbed by Earth's magnetosphere, the northern lights and southern lights gets absorbed. The electricity gets absorbed by Earth, guys. Goes down to the core. The core is like a plasma torch instead of a ball of metal, guys. Anyway, it vibrates. The core of the Earth vibrates like a bass drum. Well, plasma vibrates. And guess what plasma releases? Very low frequency. So large plasmas, electroplasmas, emanate radio waves. Very low frequency, ultra low frequency, extremely low frequency. I'll give you an example. At HAARP, up in Alaska, they use high frequency from radio transmitters, 1 billion watts or so. And they shoot it up into the ionosphere, up into the air, up into the upper atmosphere. And they get pockets of air glow 30 and 50 and 80 kilometers wide, air glow like northern lights. That air glow, the area they're hitting with high frequency, becomes like a bass speaker and emits very low frequency out from the plasma. And they can modulate and twist and turn the ring in the sky to basically move the bass speaker around and project very low frequency up, out, and away, or down and away from the plasma they create in the Earth's upper ionosphere using high frequency. So down in the core of the Earth, you have something like lightning, but more powerful, and it's generating very low frequency, ultra low frequency that's coming up. And that's what causes earthquakes. The very low frequency, ultra low frequency that comes up and spreads out. So here we are. After the solar storm, we have a whole bunch of deep earthquake activity, and then we get a whole bunch of shallower, larger earthquake activity. And it's swarming. We're seeing huge swarms break out. Next step is large earthquakes. First we swarm, then we go up. It's like a breaking that happens first. Hundreds of or even thousands of small earthquakes strike. Smaller. So for instance, here at the Indonesia-Philippines border, hundreds and hundreds of 4s and 5s. Now, I issued a warning for this location to be on watch for a large earthquake this week. We did not get the large earthquake. Instead, we got this. Thousands of 4s and 5s. It's so much that it's going up off the screen just for the last day and a half. Here's the whole week. I can't even fit it on the screen. Look. Slowing down earthquake 3D. It's so many. So Philippines got hit. But it didn't get the large earthquake we got. Instead, if you took all these and add them together, it would equal about a 7, maybe even larger. Now, we could see a huge earthquake mixed in with this. When you get swarms like this, think of Japan in 2011. Japan in 2011 had something like this before it. In case you don't know, starting on March 9th in Japan in 2011, there was a 7.2 earthquake, which isn't that big for Japan. It created a 1-foot small tsunami down by Tokyo. No big deal. But then following that 7 was something like this. And it went on for a few days, maybe 2 days, and then the big 9 hit. But what was going on there? All those hundreds of 4s and 5s were striking along the plate boundary. Let me go show you the plate boundary over here in the West Pacific. There we go. Okay, let me make sure you can see this too. Hold on. Okay, you can see that good. So over here, huge break taking place in South Philippines going into North Indonesia. And if you look, you'll see red lines. These red lines move. So up here in Japan in 2011, 7.2 earthquake, hundreds of 4s and 5s broke out, going in a line a couple hundred miles up the coast of Japan. And then where it was going to, that's where the 9 hit. Down here to the south, we kind of have the same thing going on. We have a 5.9 and 6.0 range earthquake that kicked it all off or in the middle of it, and then hundreds of 4s and 5s going through here. I would watch everywhere from central Philippines south into Indonesia for a potential extremely large earthquake in the next few days on one condition: if this swarm carries on. But if this swarm stops, which it does look like it's starting to calm down a little compared to where it was yesterday, if the swarm stops, I would look for 6.5 level activity to spread out from this location in all directions, even against our arrows, the normal flow. So, like for instance, over here at Papua New Guinea, and over here at Indonesia, and up here at Japan, I would expect for this energy to escape out, you would get 3 distinct sets of earthquakes on all sides of the plate boundaries from where it's occurring. Simply put, something coming up here, breaking here, I'd expect it to go north, east, and west following these red lines. And that would mean Java, Indonesia into East Timor. That would mean eastern Papua New Guinea. And that would mean South Japan at Kyushu, up to 6.5. So we'll see either one big large earthquake here at Philippines or 3 moderately large earthquakes, 6.5s, which, if they strike in the ocean at 6.5, it's nothing at all. Nobody cares. I mean, it's a number on a feed. That's about it. But if it strikes on land, a 6.5 does matter. So I'm really starting to raise my eyebrows at the West Pacific. So keep an eye on it. Don't ignore the big swarm that's going on there. Let's go up into Russia and take a look up here. Is this China? Hold on. Russia, Eastern Siberia, Russia. So what is up here? Now, you see this? This is the plate boundary again. Maybe I should show you the USGS map that I would keep showing you over and over again. See here? Going up through North Japan, past Japan into Kamchatka, beyond Kamchatka into Siberia. Then it goes to the North Pole, doesn't it? And it disappears. Look, USGS does not show you the actual North Pole on their map at all. They cut it off. You can't view it no matter which way you try to look. You can zoom in, they cut it off. But I'll show you what's there. But this red line goes right up through here, and right out here is a supervolcano called the Gakkel caldera. I was mocked and ridiculed when I first saw earthquakes at this location, and I told everybody I thought it was a supervolcano. Now it's confirmed, and they've always known since 1999, they say. You guys remember when I found this volcano out there? Okay, anyway, let's go take a look and see where this goes. That red line, I mean. So that red line goes up and out of Siberia, up into the Arctic Ocean, and then makes a bend up here, but they don't show it to you. I wonder why. Well, we go up and out into the Arctic Ocean, and where we make our bend, they have this blocked. And this is where the supervolcano is, right here at the end or the start of the mid-Atlantic ridge itself. If you want to think of that, this giant crack goes from the supervolcano down through Iceland, down across the mid-Atlantic, all the way to the South Pole. The mid-Atlantic ridge, it goes up through Iceland, and then it makes a zigzag and up across the Arctic Ocean through the Gakkel Ridge and dead ends into the supervolcano there. But the actual plate boundary, I mean, goes this way. You don't see it here. We have to go back to the USGS map. The actual plate boundary goes back down through Siberia and meets up with Japan all the way back down here where our H-shaped plate boundary is. And look at what's going on with the earthquakes here. So right here, I would watch. Again, we already got the 6.5 going on, but I mean right here where it comes out and goes up into, what is that, China, North Korea. The Russia, China, North Korea area might get hit. Let them know Dutch Sense says hi. Do I have any viewers in North Korea? I better not. Get in trouble. So let's wrap it up. Large earthquake activity is due in the 6.5 range or 7.0 range depending on what happens here. Does it spread out or does it strike with a large earthquake? Large earthquake would be in the next day or two. It wouldn't even be that long. So if it's going to be a large earthquake, I would say it would be by tomorrow or something, like really soon for a large earthquake. But if we get to tomorrow and this swarm is still taking place, or if it dies out, then I'd watch for 3 6.5s as the energy spreads out in all directions. It's like throwing a rock in a pond, and the pond is contained in where these red lines are, and you throw a rock in here, you would expect the wave to spread out in all directions following the shorelines or something, right? Oh man, what an update this is. So getting back to it over to the United States, when you start getting earthquakes down below weird locations like Trump's golf course and nobody's willing to talk about it, I don't know what to say other than it's freaking weird. That's like Twilight Zone level. I start to wonder if you guys are all part of something I'm not supposed to be talking about. It's like Children of the Corn. You guys all in Children of the Corn? I'm out of here. Now, speaking of getting out of here, do you have an earthquake plan? Do you know what to do if an earthquake hits? I finally felt my first earthquake, my whole life, just last week here in St. Louis when the 4.6 earthquake struck over next to the pumping operations in Illinois. So that kind of shook me up a little bit. It was last Friday, actually. We were having a Friday night dance party, and now this is over a week ago, so it's last Friday. And it was significant. And actually, we felt it in St. Louis. But I'm certainly not ready. Just like I would tell you guys to be ready. When the earthquake hit, I didn't have any hard bottom shoes anywhere near me. I'm sitting up here in my office. We're playing music. I'm in my socks. It's -2 Fahrenheit, -18 degrees Celsius outside. I'm in a pair of sweatpants, a hoodie, socks, and that's about it. And so I was not prepared when the earthquake hit. If it was anything bigger, I'd be dead, or very seriously injured, or certainly hurting and cold. So I don't even follow my own advice. But I'll tell you right now, I'm going to start. I promise. But you need to have an earthquake plan. You need to know what to do when an earthquake hits. It means take shelter underneath a table or a desk. You should also have an emergency kit. The kit should be at least for a couple days. Should have food and water, some kind. The food should be prepackaged, easy to carry with you, lightweight. High energy, protein, and sugars is what you're going to want for the first day or two. You're not going to be wanting a huge steak dinner right after a disaster. You better not. Well, unless your name's Bill Gates, you're going to drug everybody. I don't know. You guys hear about that? Dude, the world's spiraling out of control regardless of whether or not earthquakes are hitting. So have a plan for all kinds of stuff. Civil unrest plan. You got that? Jeez. Everybody will come take everything from you. I don't know what to do. All I know is I need to be much loved, try to be kind and loving, have extra supplies so I can help people if they need it, and hope to God that God protects me from the evil people who can try and take it. And that's just if there's a disaster. God, are people going to be nice to each other, do you think? Maybe at first. You guys need to have a plan for all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Change of clothes, set of shoes, flashlight and batteries, first aid kit, sanitation, food and water. Make sure to have a little extra. Oh, if you need medicines and so forth, you need to have extra stuff like that. Oh, the change of clothes needs to be seasonal specific. Don't just put shorts and t-shirts in there for the winter, and don't have the winter stuff for the summer. So you have to switch that out. Need to remind you on that. What else do you need? Extra keys, extra set of keys, extra way to charge your phone. But in a major disaster, I got a feeling the phones would be down. If it was a huge earthquake, all the towers will be down. Now there's space-based communication with satellites, so I guess that's an option. But I'm not rich, so I can't afford that, and I don't think you can either if you're an average viewer of mine. You might not even want it. So much love to everybody. I'm trying to keep it chipper and upbeat, but in a world that's spiraling out of control. By the way, if you guys want to see something really interesting, you can go over to Elon Musk's X. I know you probably hate it, some of you. But over on X, there's a channel that tracks the Earth's pole movement. And they've been noticing a few anomalies in the north-south pole variations that are moving. Now, it's not pole shift, but it's certainly getting a little wobbly. And I'm keeping track on that. I'm not going to show it to you until I have something definitive to report, but you can go over to X and look up pole coordinates, and you'll find their channel easily. Interesting times all around. Hopefully, we'll all make it through together, and I can't think of a better group of people to spend the end of the world with than you guys. I'll tell you what. Much love. I'm going to finish this. We're going to go upload it to YouTube. Going to upload it for a Friday night premiere on YouTube. You guys enjoy that stuff? Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Help me grow my channel. Help me become somebody big on social media, will you? Actually, I might have to fall back on that as my backup plan for survival. Please subscribe. All right, we're done. Peace out. Much love.